Guys, I'm Ashley Diana and I am a Great Lengths certified professional, and today I want to talk about how to take care of your Great Lengths hair extensions. You've made a big investment into your hair and your beauty routine, so I don't want you to mess it up. So I'm just gonna kind of quickly go over everything in an overview, and then I'm making some more videos like a breakdown of like specific things. So the first thing, when you get your Great Lengths extensions applied, you don't shampoo or get the bonds wet for 48 hours. So make sure to plan that accordingly when you get your hair extensions applied. Now, if you absolutely want to wear your hair like in the natural wave that some of the Great Lengths come in, you're welcome to spritz the ends of the hair with a little water, but the point is not to get the bonds wet. You want to keep the bonds dry completely for at least 48 hours. The other thing, if you're able to, I really like you to visit your stylist like 2 to 4 weeks after you've had your extensions applied. It's not 100% necessary because everything should be perfect anyway, but if you're in the area where your stylist works, definitely pop back in at 2 to 4 weeks so the stylist can look at your bonds and make sure everything's growing out properly and everything is applied perfectly. So just try to do that. Now let's talk about brushing, because this is something that's so important. You have to do it every day, and if you're really good, you want to do it 3 times a day. So you have your Great Lengths professional brush. Now I give each one of my clients a Great Lengths brush with their first application of Great Lengths. And it's a really cool brush because it has the short bristles and then it has like the long bristles on top that really get down to your hair. The point with brushing your extensions, it's not for the ends, it is for the scalp. So don't be afraid. You want the bristles to go down into your scalp. The reason we brush so much and the reason we brush the bonds is because, let's think about it. 1/3 of your hair has extensions attached to it when you have a full head application, at least 1/3. So we naturally lose 100 to 150 hairs a day. Well, when we have all those bonds in our hair, let's say this is the bond right here. The hairs are naturally gonna fall off because we shed, like I said, 100 to 150 strands a day. They'll hang off the bond and they'll start to do this number. If you're brushing them, they'll just fold down. But if you don't brush them, they'll still hang off because you're gonna shed the hair anyway. It just has nowhere to go. It would probably, fall out in the shower if you didn't have extensions in it. It's trapped in the bond, so they'll hang off the side and they'll grab onto their little brothers and sisters next door if they're not brushed out. So you want to brush the scalp and really hear the bonds as you're brushing them. Let's see if I can do that on video. Yeah, and then they'll fold down and they won't get tangled or matted. So at least do it once a day, but if you can do it 3 times a day, again, get down close to your hair and you want to feel the bristles go all the way down. Now, the best thing to do, and especially if you have tons and tons of Great Lengths in your hair, you'll actually want to part your hair and say brush the nape first and then brush like the mid part of your hair and then bring it up to the top. I just did that really quickly, but you're gonna want to do it in sections because you never want to miss like the very back of your head. And I see some people sometimes, if they're really rough sleepers, sometimes they'll mat this back part of their head, and you just really have to be careful not to do that. Or if you are a hard sleeper and you know that's what you're going to do, you may need to just brush a little bit more. People with naturally curly hair, you need to brush any chance that you get. I know if you're wearing the hair in a natural wave, you may not want it to get frizzy, but you can still open up the hair like this and just brush the scalp, at least to make sure nothing's getting tangled. You don't have to brush this whole thing, but at least get in there to the scalp if your hair's naturally curly, because it's naturally gonna want to just grab onto your brothers and sister bonds anyway. Do not brush your hair while it's wet. When you get out of the shower and your hair's wet, start like a wide tooth comb, or if you do wanna use this brush, just start from the bottom just to kind of gently get those tangles out of the bottom of your hair. But you never want to brush the scalp while it's wet because our hair stretches a lot more when it's wet. So dry your hair and then go through and brush it. So again, never brush your Great Lengths with this brush while it's wet. Actually, I didn't know that a lot of clients did this until I asked some clients, hey, how are you shampooing their hair? And they go, well, I shampoo it like this. And that's the worst thing you can do. How you want to shampoo your Great Lengths, and I'll go into this further in more detail in another video. You want to tilt your head back, let the water run down your hair. You don't want it to go forward. Let it go like as the hair naturally falls, and then just shampoo like this, really gently in a downward motion, so you're not matting and tangling the hair. You just want to shampoo it downward. Really nice. We want to be nice to our hair extensions because they're expensive and beautiful, and we want our hair to stay healthy. If your hair is naturally curly, the last thing you want to do is shampoo it like this. This is your worst nightmare. Don't shampoo your hair like this. You're going to want to let the water run down in your hair, and just gently, again, I can't stress it even anymore, shampoo it this way. Be nice and gentle with your hair. If you like to have your Great Lengths air dry, you definitely can do this, but the one thing that we recommend for you to do is always dry the bonds first. So when you get out of the shower, you want to let it air dry, put your curl cream or gel, whatever it is you use in the ends. Just take the blow dryer and just take some of the wetness out of the bonds, because we want to keep the bonds as dry as possible so there's never any breakdown of the bond. The other thing, we have this cool product called anti-tap spray. And what that does is once your hair is wet, whether you've been in the ocean or the pool or you just got out of the shower, the anti-tap spray is something that you want to spray on your hair wet, and you just spray it on the bonds, and it balances the pH again so that your bonds stay healthy and they don't break down or anything during the wearing period of your extension. So that's a really cool product that you definitely want to use every time you shampoo your hair or basically get the hair wet. You want to balance it back out with the anti-tap spray, and you spray that. You actually do spray that on the bond. So let's talk about blow drying and styling. The cool thing with Great Lengths is that the styling options are virtually limitless. You can pretty much do anything you want to do, which is really cool. Unlike a lot of other hair extensions, they move so well, and they're not bulky, and they are just like an extension of your hair, seriously. I want you to be careful with the curling irons, flat irons, anything that just gets really hot, because the bond can melt. So when you're flat ironing your hair, you would not want to put the flat iron on the bond. You want to keep like really high heats, like at least an inch away from the bond. So what I like to tell people is to kind of hold where the bonds are and then put your flat iron and pull that down, because then you're sure that you won't melt the bond. And same thing with the curling iron. If you're curling up, just make sure to hold that there so you're not going to melt the bond. Now, when it's time to go to sleep, the best thing to do for your extensions is to put them in like a loose braid, whether it's on the side or however that may be. Just braid your hair or put it in a nice like low ponytail. If you're a really hard sleeper and you wake up absolutely crazy, like I mentioned before, brush your hair out really good before you go to bed. Definitely put it in a braid. And then when you wake up in the morning, brush the scalp again really, really well. A lot of people ask me about wearing your hair in a ponytail, or how can you wear it up when you have Great Lengths. And I find a lot of people on social media, especially people that aren't certified in Great Lengths yet, they ask, well, how can you have all the bonds in your hair and not see when you pull up into a ponytail? Well, the thing is, if you've had a professional, someone who's really great at Great Lengths and is experienced, you're gonna have the bonds applied far enough away from the perimeter of your hairline so you can pull it up and you shouldn't be able to see the bonds. But the best way to pull your hair in a ponytail with Great Lengths is in a low ponytail. If you're just one of those people that you wanna wear your hair up here in a top knot all the time, I don't know if these are the best things for you. I don't know if any extension would be good for you if you always want to pull it up really tight, because that's just not the way our hair grows. And when you have extensions attached to it, you just don't want to pull it super tight and yank it all the way up. So I tell my clients, however you want to part it, but a nice low ponytail, I'm not going to put it in a ponytail now, but something like this is great. Low like this is nice because these are the way the extensions go. Pull it back like that. You can go in this area, and you'll see me rarely, once in a while, I'll wear it up, but I'm very careful. But it's just not the best way. The best way, wear it in this area. Again, you can wear it up high, but I just want you to be very careful and not pull it way, way, way too tight. Basically, just be really careful anyway, as you would your own hair, because these Great Lengths are your own hair now. So you just wanna notice if you're pulling anything really tight, any direction, up, down, sideways, if it's pulling a little bit, then it's pulling on your natural hair. Now, the way we apply Great Lengths, we apply it away from the scalp so that you can have that movement so it doesn't pull out hairs and it grows out naturally. But if you're pulling on it too much, what it can cause is traction alopecia. And that's not normally from how the extensions are applied. If they're applied correctly, that's from the hair just being pulled too much and it actually being pulled out of the scalp. So that's what you want to be really, really careful with, especially around your front hairline and around the nape. If you're pulling it way too tight and back all the time, you can cause some of that traction alopecia, and we don't want any of that to happen. A couple other things is about getting in the ocean, getting in the pool, getting your hair wet, anything besides the shower. I do want you to be really careful when you do this too. When you get in the ocean or the pool, the best thing you can do is wet your hair prior to getting in the water. What we want to do is kind of create a barrier method so there's not as much chlorine or salt water absorbed into the hair. So wet your hair down with like clean water, tap water, whatever is the cleanest water around you. Do that first. Another thing you can do, if it's available to you, is put a little bit of conditioner or some sort of product in the wet hair that will block even more of like harsh chemicals and salt water getting into your hair. So always, always, always do this, especially the ocean. I have seen some tragedies with people's extensions when they've just jumped in the ocean, scuba diving, snorkeling, all these different things, and let their hair just like flow freely in the salt water. It can be an absolute nightmare. So I want you to wet your hair down first. And if you don't have conditioner, that's okay. But if you do have it, that's even better. So put that in your hair, put your hair in a braid, maybe 2 braids on each side. So that way your hair is not just flowing in the water and like tangling onto each other. Make sure you do that. Then when you get out of the water, I want you to rinse your hair out. If that's the best you can do. If you can shampoo it, that would be even better, to shampoo all that out of your hair. And then you're gonna wanna spray the anti-tap spray on your bonds. Dry the bonds just a tad so they're not soaking wet, and then you can let your hair air dry if you want to. Also, products. Now, I like to give my new clients with their first set of Great Lengths, I like to give them a brush, the Great Lengths shampoo, conditioner, and a leave-in product. But what you need to do if you don't have those products, you need to use a sulfate-free shampoo and then a conditioner. And the conditioner, you don't want to run it through the bonds. You want to just comb it through the ends of your hair. Remember, when you shampoo, you're going to tilt back, shampoo like this, really nice and soft. And then with your conditioner, just run it through the ends, leave it in for a couple minutes, and then rinse it out. With products, you can pretty much use whatever you love and what you like. A curl cream if you're wanting to curl it or have more hold. If you like to use something like argan oil or oil type smoothing treatment, you can do that too. Just don't put it in the bonds. You just want to keep it in the ends of the hair like this. You're welcome to use some volumizing foam if you'd like to. The main thing is you don't want greasy, oily things like coming through the scalp. Okay, so here's something that we don't have written down in our Great Lengths manuals, but it is the real deal. A couple other stylists and I have talked about this, and we have seen this problem. It's a problem when it's dealing with your hair. If you are planning on having a crazy night or weekend, or you're gonna go on a tropical vacation, and let's just say you're going to have a lot of fun, pay attention to your hair and your scalp. What has happened is I've seen some clients, and so have my other stylist friends, where they had a really very fun rendezvous night, and let's just lay it out there, they had crazy sex all night, and their hair was just matted, matted into like a ball in the back of their head. You can't do that to your hair. Just be mindful when you're having fun to not keep doing this, because the last thing you want is a softball size mat anywhere, maybe even in the side. Don't even do that. Just be careful. We don't want any mats because we were having too much fun. Just say, hang on, let me get my hair extension brush it, say Ashley told me to brush my hair, or braid it, say hang on, let me braid my hair, and then get back to your business, because I don't want to hear about it when you've matted your hair up because you had too much fun. So that's from me off the record, to keep that in mind. So anytime you're matting your hair up, think Ashley told me not to do this, because I want your hair to stay beautiful and healthy and shiny, and I want you to be able to wear it as long as possible and enjoy it and be fabulous. I hope this information was really valuable to you. If you have any more specific questions, please be sure to leave them below for me. You can also shoot me an email at my website. It's hairextensionsbyashley.com. And make sure to follow me on Instagram. It's at Miss Ashley Hair, and I will see you next time.